Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Lenovo C940 late 2019 refresh. That means we have a 10th gen Intel Ice Lake processor, in this case a Core i7, complemented by 16 gigs of RAM. I'm actually going to show you the specs right there. So we've got 16 gigs of RAM. We also have a 512 gig SSD with 32 gigs of Intel's Optane SSD tech. We have a 14-inch UHD IPS display. I believe it's rated at 400 or 500 nits, and a 4-cell battery. This does have an active pen, which you'll see slotted just like previous generations. And that's pretty much it. Let's get it out of the box. In terms of retail pricing, we're talking about right now, this is available directly from Lenovo, as well as Best Buy, other outlets. I'll be including a link in the description if I can. And this really represents one of several models I'll be covering, best in class, in my opinion, and really what you should be focusing on if you're after a laptop in 2019 or the beginning of 2020. So I'm going to unpack everything here. Let's get down to business. Very light machine, and it really just builds upon the previous generation, improves on it in several different ways, and is compelling. I mean, great battery life, a 4K UHD display, as I mentioned before, that active pen having a place to live, which unfortunately a lot of manufacturers don't give us a place to put active pens. I'm not a tremendous fan of that. Before I open this up, let's just take a look at our power brick, which is right here. And what I really like about all of these 10th gen Ice Lake i7 builds is that, first and foremost, they're far more affordable than their Surface Pro 7 or Surface Laptop 3 brethren. And you can see this is a Type-C charger. And let's just see what the wattage is on here, 65 watts. So that's the same as what you will get with a Surface Pro 7. But in order to get a build like this with a Surface Pro 7 or a Surface laptop, you're going to be spending a small fortune. And that doesn't mean that this machine was inexpensive, because it absolutely wasn't. You're looking at $1,750 US retail, but this is still quite affordable when you put together the entire spec list when compared to much of the competition. And that being, again, Microsoft, Apple, even though they are working with a different OS, and I think Dell and HP are the only other ones that I would bring into this conversation. So let's take a look at this, shall we? I mean, it's exciting. It's been a long time since I've covered laptops at length, and this year is going to be one of them because there are a lot of different compelling options. Now, the first thing that strikes me about the Yoga is the overall build quality. And you can see it immediately. I really like what they've got going on here. Let's just make sure there's nothing else in the box. I think we just are going to have some paperwork, and that's exactly what we have. So I'm going to put this aside. And again, the Yoga, in my opinion, has one of the nicest overall designs of any of the Ice Lake refreshes. And to have, such a compact machine, it's a little under 3 pounds, and it just has everything going for it. The fit and finish, you can see we have USB charger here, the DC in, because we do have a Thunderbolt port. They're showing you where the pen is, or at least I don't know if the pen is at the back. I know on the 15-inch it's on the side, so it must be on the back. And that's pretty much it on this diagram. And then they're also showing you that the power button is over there. So let's look at this thing, shall we? Now, the Lenovo does have this sound bar built in with Dolby Atmos, which is definitely a nice feature. We have precision touchpad, as you would come to expect, a fingerprint scanner, all of their different specs, not specs, but branding. The Iris Plus graphics I really appreciate, because this is the first time we're getting an integrated, not a dedicated GPU solution, but an integrated GPU solution that actually has a little bit of oomph, which means you will be able to do some light gaming, and you will be able to do some form of content creation. In fact, that's the whole reason that I'm interested. And these were not furnished to me by the manufacturer. This is something where I am trying to find my next ultra portable laptop. Webcam up at the top. It is not a Windows Hello module, for those of you that are wondering. It has that little bump out, which is a nice little lip. It has Yoga branding on it. I'm not sure that'll come into focus. I'm sure I could grab it on an angle. and it just says Yoga Series on the top. And just a very clean design. There is the pen, as I mentioned. So from what I understand, it's just pocketed now, and that is exactly what it is. They used to have a spring-loading mechanism. Now it just slides in. But I really like that they have a place to put the pen. I mean, this is not an expensive thing to do, but it's an incredibly rare thing to see. On this side, we have, which is the right side, the power button right there. Nothing on the front except the branding and that lip, which is the bump out for the camera. On the left side, that's pretty much where all the action is. You've got your Thunderbolt port, your headphone jack, and then a Type A port as well, and just an additional Type C. So connectivity-wise, you pretty much have everything that you need, and overall, just a really nice-looking machine. I'm not the biggest fan of Lenovo, but when they do it right, credit is due. So let's power this thing up. The 4K display, as I mentioned, is rated, I believe, at, as I'm trying to separate it, I believe it's 400 or 500 nits of brightness, and I will be looking at other machines as well in this class, as I mentioned at the top. Let's go ahead and power it on, if it has a charge. And I don't believe anyone on YouTube has covered these outside of IFA, which is back in September. So this is kind of exciting, and I will also be looking at the HP Spectre 13. It looks like this thing is totally dead, so I'm going to have to charge it. But the HP Spectre 13-inch model with the brand new OLED display, that's another one I'll be looking at. I'll be looking at the Surface Laptop 3. And of course, I already unboxed the Surface Pro 7. So we've got a lot of things to work with. Again, fit and finish on this, really nice. And it's been a long time since I've looked at a Lenovo. And I have to say, even though I haven't powered anything on, I mean, I already took notice of this machine last year, but now incorporating pretty much everything else that I would have been looking for makes it very compelling. So I will get it charged up. I will give you an update. I'm kind of surprised that it has no juice out of the box, but stranger things have happened. But overall, this may be one of the best, if not the best, ultra-portable, lightweight laptop on the market. It promises very good battery life, like the previous gen, also complemented by having all of the hardware, again, that would generally run you quite a bit more than what you're paying here. Even though $1,750 is no small price to pay for a machine like this, it's still a very impressive piece of hardware. I'll get it charged up. We'll get an update soon. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.